everyone, and welcome to another episode of 1923 Main Street.
Home of the Disney Travel Podcast with the latest Disney travel news. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bella Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bella Braddock. And today, dates are finally out for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and Fort Wilderness Cabins are in need of an upgrade.
Yes, two highlight stories that seem to be capturing the most attention we're going to focus on today. First of all, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is back. No one's really surprised. The Boo Bash was a one-time thing.
Thank goodness for that.
And that is pretty much the only one we skipped of these things over the time of history. So, for starters, it looks like there are 38 dates in total.
Yeah, a lot this year.
And I think it's starting earlier than ever. So, it kicks off this year on August 11th. That's even earlier than that's the first half of August. So, looks like we will be...
I believe they had a Boo Bash around then, but that's usually the week before we go, and we usually
so
catch the first one. So
if you're wondering, we always go in August ourselves. So let's talk about the dates, then we'll talk about the pricing and all that sorts of stuff. So first of all, it starts on August 11th, and it ends...
on November 1st.
Yeah, which I find very odd. I don't recall this being normal, but...
I read that and I was like, what? Because last I checked Disney, Halloween was still October 31st, which they also have a party for.
Yeah, and there's a few things that Amelia just will raise in a minute, but mine is, okay, so it's a Wednesday, right? I looked on the calendar. It's not like it's the weekend. I thought, okay, maybe it's Saturday night and they do Friday and they wanted to just... No, but it's November 1st is a Wednesday night, I believe. So
yes.
It's in the week. So when Halloween's over, do you then the next night want to go to a Halloween party in the middle of the week? I find it very odd, personally. I would not want to do that one myself.
Also, Disney, your whole thing was every year on your story, you post about, you have your countdown, and the second it hits midnight, you all turn it over. You were like copying Taylor Swift this year, I guess, but you all turn it over to Christmas and the story and everything's posted right then. So...
I guess that's not going to happen.
Keep it Halloween?
Well, it's going to have to be. If they have a Halloween party on November 1st, they can't do the switch over until November 2nd.
Because I don't know about you, but I also do the November 1st.
All the traditions.
I also do the November 1st switchover, and I rely greatly on Disney backing up my insanity. Because despite the fact that there's still that little Thanksgiving blip in the middle there, Christmas season is November 1st. So I have questions. Are they now going to turn it over November 2nd?
Well, they're not going to turn it over November 1st.
But are they going to wait until after Thanksgiving? So there is some sort of turnover?
I don't know. We're going to have to see.
What are they doing?
It's sort of weird this year.
Because like a Thursday is not anything more special than a Wednesday. So why?
Nonetheless, everything else is the same.
I'm so confused.
The shows start at 7. We were going to have all the dates. We're not going to read every single date. They're all in our blog post and show notes. They start at 7 p.m. You can enter at 4. All of that's the same. It is a ticketed event. So ticket prices there's a range, right? So $109 is the cheapest to $199 is the most expensive, which would be on Halloween day, obviously, and dates close to it, I believe. And then kids' prices, if your children are 3 to 9, is just $10 less on every one of those things. And then if you are a DVC member or an annual pass member, you can get a $10 discount on certain days. So, for example, Halloween, they're not discounting, and probably the days leading up to that.
You know what I want to know? What is the rate for November 1st? Is that like their high rate, $199, most expensive, the day after Halloween? Oh, how exciting.
Rates
Let's go to a Halloween
posted,
party.
So we'll check that out.
I'm so interested to know.
Check that out. We'll check that out and put it in the show notes.
Because if it was me, I'd be like, yeah, 109. Because who wants to go to that? I'm so curious to see how it sells.
So we'll be going, as we always do, in August, on August 18th. This year, we can book because we have a hotel reservation. So if you have a hotel reservation for Walt Disney World, tickets go on sale on the 27th. You can get your tickets for the Not So Scary Halloween party starting April 27th. Otherwise, for everybody else, if you don't have a Disney hotel, then you're going to have to wait till May 2nd to book your tickets. But they don't really sell out immediately. It's not, they sell out closer to the dates typically, but, you want to get it in.
Unless you're going for Halloween night or a very popular Saturday right around then, you're probably safely going to get tickets.
So the good part for us is that those are the cheapest nights of all. So they'll be $99 with our AP/DVC discount. You can't use both. They'll give you one discount. When you buy your tickets, you usually check a radio box of which one of those you want to apply. And then everything else is the same. There's the Boo to You Halloween Parade, which is great. Always, if you're going to stay the whole night, wait for the second one. There is one interesting thing this year. So, of course, you can trick or treat. There's the nighttime fireworks show. But they are doing a virtual queue for Tron during the party.
Oh, come on.
So that's a bit different.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So you are going to have to try to get in the virtual queue, which I guess makes sense because you don't want to be...
Great.
So Amelia and I have talked in the past, if you listen to the shows, the touting of these short, almost walk-on ride lines, that is never our experience with these.
Yeah, but that's Disney's whole speech. So by doing this, aren't they admitting that that's completely false?
So yeah, it's basically a new move. They're going to have a virtual queue. So that way, at least if you get a spot, you don't have to wait in line. Because otherwise, why even pay tickets for the party if you're going to just go wait in line for Tron for the whole entire length of the party? Because it's not that long, really.
That's true.
So anyway, we'll try to get it, I guess. Why not? May as well.
Yeah. I'm interested in this.
Yeah, we'll have to see as it gets closer.
I get the logic. I'm just concerned if you're paying because you want to try to get on Tron with a better shot and you still don't make it.
Well, I think if you're going down for we're probably going to have been on Tron before that anyway.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal for me. I just want to point out that's different this year. So
we all know you go for the trick-or-treating.
We go in August, if you're wondering. It's great, it's fun, but August is a nightmare for both heat, so I never wear costumes anymore, and rain. Like, we've gone, I don't know, maybe close to 10 times in August on these trips, and it always rains every single time. Every time. Now, sometimes it's not bad, or it rained just like last summer. It poured like intense thunder, lightning, like the worst downpour right at 7 o'clock. So we were just sitting in the Contempo Cafe watching, thinking, are we even going to go to the party? And then luckily...
But then everything was delayed at the party.
Yeah, everything, they were really messed up. They didn't have the bags and all that stuff to give you to trick or treat. And anyway, so we did get it in eventually and it all worked out and we did stay for the late parade. So that's what we do. We don't go to the early parade. They run the parade twice. We try to go on rides as much as we can while the first parade's on, watch fireworks, and then stay for the second parade because it's still busy, but not as busy because a lot of people will leave.
And although I do recommend if you're not interested in the parade, that is when you go to the rides because by that time, Disney's probably right in saying there's not that many people in those lines.
Yeah, the Sanderson sisters are back again, too, for their castle show. So all the good stuff from the past. Prices, I don't know. They don't seem as bad this year. We have a cat making noise in the background. If that is Minnie, our Disney cat.
Yes, our show mascot Minnie.
If you hear a funny noise, she's playing with paper, wanting attention. All right, so there you have it. We will be booking on the 27th. Those are the things to remember. As it gets closer to the party, rates go up. And I hope you have fun. We'll give more about this as it is released. We like the Halloween party. It's pretty good. All right, the other news causing controversy as I knew it would.
Yes, in a shocking turn of events, Disney World has decided that they're going to refurbish the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground to make them DVC properties.
Yeah, so this is very interesting, and I guess it's similar, you could say, to what they did at the Grand Floridian. They converted Big Pine Key into a deluxe DVC villas. They've done this in the past. They did it at the Polynesian. They converted a building that wasn't, but the cabins were moderates. So there's a few things to unpack here. If we are DVC members, so we're sitting here going, what do I think about this? So are they moderates becoming DVC? They have to ensure that they keep the prices up, really, because you can't water down DVC unless they restrict. If you buy there, you can only stay there, which they might do. Not use the points anywhere else. I don't know. We're going to have to see how it all works out. I do like the idea. So what they're doing is they're taking the existing cabins, which are almost 25 years old now in this iteration. I think this is the second version of them already. And they're completely tearing them out, but they're keeping the same concrete footprint so they can just build new ones off-site and slap them on. That's basically what they're doing. They're still going to be one bedroom. They're basically one bedroom villas.
Yeah, but they're private, so they're probably less noisy for those of you who are
Well, it depends what your neighbors are like, right? It's not unlike camping there. It's the same distance. You've got
That's
a campsite right beside you. So if you have a big
Yeah.
rootin' tootin' party next door, you're going to hear it.
Yeah.
Even though you're in, just like us, we've had bad experiences in the bungalows.
That's true. Now, there are 350 of these across the Fort Wilderness property, so that leaves a lot of room for different areas. You could be stuck in a not very accessible area, or you could be a lot closer to the front. So make sure you know where you want to stay and request a cabin.
If they keep them. So this is a good question. Yeah. Like I just assume, but I've been poking around on chat boards and social media to see what's happened. And the divide I thought would happen is sort of happening, not bad yet, but there's the Fort Wilderness regulars, the purists, who many of them don't want DVC villas in Fort Wilderness.
Of course.
And then there's the DVC people who, many of which are saying, yeah, this is great. It's another DVC option. But you better make sure we have a private pool and you better make sure there's good dining because it's going to be a little different. Every DVC resort has table service dining. And what do? They're just changing Trails End away from table service dining, right? So it's going to be a little bit of a different experience.
Well, maybe. Did you ever think that maybe they're changing Trails End because Trails End wasn't, quote, up to par, and so they're making that completely different so they can build a new DVC deluxe table service dining?
Are they going to tie reflections into this down the road?
Of
That's
course.
Sitting there. Who knows? But what I was going to say is there are primarily a lot of Fort Wilderness cabins that are just cabin loops at Fort Wilderness, and that's where they put people for COVID. So at least you won't get a COVID cabin. They'll all be torn down. That's where they were isolating people. But as you noted, what I know is that in the 100 Loop and up close to the settlement trading post, there are a few cabins sort of scattered around, not part of the full cabin areas. If they take those away, then I will absolutely for sure never stay there, right? So I'm a long time. When we started Disney World visits in March of 1972, 6 months after it opened, we pretty much stayed at Fort Wilderness 2 to 4 weeks a year for the first till about 1985. So from 1972 to 1985, I was at Fort Wilderness for 2 to 4 weeks a year, and then Polynesian and Contemporary as well, scattered in between that. So I know the resort well. Just before I make any comments, I like it. It's changed a lot over the years, but I do like the original 100, 200 Loop area.
We always go back and visit.
Yeah, we always go back and visit. So if they get rid of those, personally, I will never stay there because I don't want to stay way back where in the cabin neighborhoods personally. I do not like the look of the new cabins either. They released artwork, and to me, they look like sheds.
Really?
Other people have said they look like shipping containers. And, it's like the Holiday Inn, the new Polynesian building. So whoever's designing the new Disney Vacation Club villas, I'm just not in sync with them at all. They're too modern. They're not cabin style. They look more like shed style to me.
I think, can someone please take that modern energy and put it towards the contemporary, which is actually starting to feel very dated despite its name, and focus on theming the other themed resorts?
Well, they just redid the contemporary rooms with Incredibles.
Not the contemporary Bay Lake.
Oh, Bay Lake Tower, yeah.
Bay Lake, like the DVC rooms.
Well, that's another one.
The contemporary overall resort, because the Incredibles rooms look great.
There's still talk of taking the other
that to Bay Lake,
garden buildings out of the contemporary and building a second Bay Lake Tower as well. So I don't know. You can see if you're a non-DVC person, it is true. It's DVC is what they're banking on because they get the money up front. Essentially, people are going to buy, and that's going to pay for building these things because we can only assume that the cabins were just not selling out.
Yeah.
So they know if they get DVC people buying them, they're paid for out of our dues and stuff, no matter if anyone's staying in them or not.
Yeah.
In terms of upkeep.
I think they could nicely theme them campery because there's like glamping is a thing.
Yeah.
So just make them more glamping-esque.
They are going to have to be nice on the inside.
For people like me that have tried to pretend they were camping when they really weren't. And do that. I think you could definitely get the glamping angle. You could capture the campground, but please don't try to put them all the way where they're only using buses for transportation. Like, do something else transportation-wise, because if you're relying on buses, you're going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah. Are they going to give golf carts at everyone? That's what other people are saying as
Ooh.
part of your stay. Also,
I like
are they
that.
going to add a washer dryer? Because 1-bedroom villas all have washer dryer,
Yeah.
but they don't right now. So they can only fit so much into this space.
Well, they're doing a tear down rebuild.
Yeah, but they're keeping the same square footage. So
You're
they
gonna
look pretty
lose a little
tall.
bit.
So I have a feeling there's bunk beds in there. There's if you look at the artist's rendering, that could change, but they're taller than the current ones look. Anyway, let us know what you
Imagine if they're
think.
a double level.
I think they might be. Not fully, but there might be bunk beds up top.
Or like a
a
loft?
mini loft for sleeping. Not that you can stand up in, but sleep in.
Disney needs to make double level individual buildings. I know they would be 1,000,000 points, but I still stand by that. People would buy it. Disney, please do that.
You mean like the bungalows, but 2-level?
Yes.
You know how many points that would be? Holy moly.
Well, someone's gonna buy
Maybe
it.
that'll be on the reflections plate because they
people-
were putting cabins there.
Well, they have grand villas that are 3 bedrooms. People that stay in
That's
those
true.
would buy that.
Yeah. All right, so there you
Case in
have it.
point.
Let us know if you're a DVC member, non-DVC member. What do you think about this conversion of the regardless, as a DVC member, I like any option of adding them. Whether or not I want to stay in it, it's just nice to have the option, as long as they consider pricing them appropriately so that across the entire spectrum of Disney Vacation Club, everything's kept relatively equal.
Because if you're selling cheap points there, and then you can just stay at the Grand Floridian for
so then why wouldn't everyone just buy cheap points? So they'll restrict it. If you buy those points, you can only stay in those cabins and maybe Riviera.
But
because they restricted that too.
Well, I just don't
degree.
think they'll make them super cheap because then they're the ones losing money.
Yeah, I don't think they can. They can't devalue DVC because that would work against the entire DVC concept.
And again, therefore, we all know Disney doesn't want to be losing any more money if they can help it.
So this one really, for me at least, came out of the blue. I was not expecting that.
I did
Very
not
interesting
expect them to
story. I had to read it twice going, what? Is this April Fool's? No, this is real.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, now I might actually stay at Fort Wilderness Resort.
Yeah.
Who would
you
have,
never have.
Who would have thought?
So I need Disney, if you're listening, please keep those 100 and 200 loop or in any of the ones close to the settlement trading post and charge me more. I don't care, but we'll just stay. Those can be the deluxe ones.
Yes.
All right, everyone. That is the news this week. Lots of good, controversial stories. People really get angst about this. And we'll see what you all think and watch as more news comes in. Follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. We'll see you again next week and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.